All right, good afternoon, good morning, good evening. Hello, friends. Welcome back to the Thursday happy hour. We are in our hashtag Rhapsody Live webcast series. My name is Matt Vance. I'm the Woodwind Product Specialist for Buffet Grand USA. It's a very special evening here at Buffet Grand USA. As you can see, we have a couple of guests in studio this evening that I will introduce you to, and I'm really glad everyone is joining us. We're going to have a good time tonight discussing some really interesting topics regarding some recent developments with clarinet production at Buffet Grand Pont. To my immediate left is my good friend. He's the principal clarinet of the Dallas Symphony Orchestra. He is also a Buffet Grand Pont clarinet artist. I would like to welcome Gregory Radin. Hello, Greg.
Hello, nice to be here.
It's good to see you.
Good to see you.
You're doing well, I take it, health-wise and everything?
I think so, yeah.
Good.
It's been a challenging year for everyone,
Yes, it has.
but I'm doing well, thank you.
Good, it's good to have you here. We have a special surprise guest that is joining us as well. He is the president and CEO of Buffet Grand Pont USA, Francois Clark. Francois, thank you for joining us.
You're welcome, Matt. Thank you.
So how are you doing?
I'm very good. That was a very interesting day. I think, Greg, that's terrific to have the ability to welcome artists and guests back to Jacksonville after the long pandemic safely. So we're very pleased to have Greg with us today and tomorrow. So that's pretty exciting stuff.
Yeah, those of you that have joined us regularly for the webcast series, you know that we've been doing them via Zoom. And this is, I think, the second opportunity we've had to have a live guest in our webcast studio. And it's a thrill for me to welcome Greg and Francois into the studio this evening. So I want to get right to the topic at hand. Our topic this evening is alternate materials for clarinet production. And there are some clarinets that I know a lot of you have seen online on social media, different materials with boxwood and then more recently with the Mopani clarinets. And Greg has been here playing clarinets all day and has had a lot of really interesting experiences as far as playing these different materials. Greg, you've been playing the Mopani clarinets most of the day today. Just for a little background on Mopani versus African Blackwood or Grenadilla wood that Buffet clarinets are usually known for. What have you experienced as far as the Mopani clarinets compared to what you're used to with the Grenadilla clarinet?
Well, it's been very interesting, very exciting. They have a beautiful sound, beautiful quality. I guess I would characterize it as slightly more mellow quality, a little warmer maybe than Grenadilla. Not that Grenadilla isn't warm, but this has just maybe a little more cushion to the sound. Very responsive, very solid feeling. I've been very impressed with what I've tried today.
Yeah, it sounds fantastic. And in a second, we're going to ask Greg to play a little bit for us so we can compare the different sounds. Of course, Francois, you, prior to being president and CEO of Buffet Grand Pont USA, a world-class woodwind technician and woodwind maker. Maybe could you talk a little bit about Mopani? I know everybody's interested in it and how, from a technical standpoint, it compares to Grenadilla wood or African Blackwood. Could you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, it's of course it's a different. There are some subtleties between the wood. The particularity of the Mopani is that it's growing in low areas, so between 660 feet to 3,700 feet. So that's a wood that grows in mainly in southern Africa. So you can find that in Zambia, Zimbabwe, Mozambique, of course, where we're getting our wood. It has that particularity, as Greg was saying, it's still dense and it still has that that hold, I would say. When I did a little bit of adjustments today for Greg, when you're using a cutting tool or something, you have that very crisp shaving. It's a wood that responds very well when you walk on it, and it has that warmth, that different sound quality that Greg was mentioning, and all afternoon we've listened to Greg play, and you can really hear the difference in the tonal quality. So that's it's a special wood to walk on, like many other woods. They respond differently. to what you do mechanically, but it's a very interesting material to work with.
As everyone can see, it's also just visually, it's a beautiful instrument. The wood, the color of the grain, the prominence of the grain. I wonder, Greg, maybe if you could pick up your R13 made from grenadilla wood, and we could kind of compare them against each other in terms of visually how they look. You can see it's really striking how different the Mopane or the Mopane clarinet looks in comparison to the African Blackwood R13 that Greg has been playing on for many years. Now, Greg, the clarinet that you picked out today, that has nickel-plated keys, correct?
Correct.
Yeah, okay, so you have played silver-plated R13s, you played nickel-plated R13s. Do you find that you have a preference for one over the other, or is it just whichever instrument works better for you in response?
Yeah, I think generally I tend to play silver-plated instruments, but I gravitated today more towards the nickel ones, particularly to this instrument. So I'm not really locked into one or the other. I think it does depend on the particular instrument. Some feel that the nickel might have a little bit more resonance, a little bit more responsiveness, and maybe there's something to that. But I do think it can just depend on the particular instrument.
You know, we get a lot of questions at Buffet Crampon USA about, well, which key plating is better? And I think that will filter down to now the materials, which material is better. And it really is a personal preference thing, isn't it?
It is. I mean, there's one perhaps practical thing about nickel or silver. Some people tend to be very acidic and wear through the nickel plating more quickly than silver. The silver will hold up better if you happen to be one of those people. But that's just really a cosmetic issue. It doesn't have any effect on the playing of the instrument.
Yeah. If you're just joining us this evening, I'm thrilled to be joined by two very special guests in our webcast studio. Gregory Graydon is the principal clarinet of the Dallas Symphony Orchestra. Francois Clock is the president and CEO of Buffet Crampon USA. We've had a really exciting day here in Jacksonville, Florida, playing through Mopane clarinets. Francois, when Greg first started playing through the instruments, you were in there right from the very first instrument. And I know that you noticed some things right away listening to Greg play these instruments from this new material. Maybe talk a little bit about some of the things that you heard different from Greg's sound because you know Greg's sound very well over the years.
Well, the particular, of course, Greg's, I think Greg will sound great on anything, but there is that characteristic in his sound that I found when he started, specifically the clarinet that he picked, really had that, a different color, I would say, a responsiveness that Greg was talking about that was a little bit different. It's still responding, I would say, rather quickly, but I was actually really impressed with the spin in the sound, the way the sound was really spinning and turning, and really the core inside the sound. And that warmth, that Greg, again, I want to come back on the warmth because that's the one thing that I really felt was still Greg's sound. There was still, his voice, but then there is that warmth around that is the characteristic of that particular instrument and the material.
Yeah, in just a second, we're going to A/B Greg's Grenadilla R13 versus his new Mopane R13. I want to say hello to some viewers joining us this evening. Chris Coppinger is our division manager from the Northeast. He's chiming in. Hello, Chris. Thank you for joining us. Liam Burke is a wonderful clarinetist in the New York area. He also has a clarinet specialty shop working out of Connecticut. Liam, thank you for tuning in this evening. It's great to see you. Laura Grantier recently retired from the United States Navy Band, and a new Buffet Crampon clarinet artist is tuning in this evening. Laura, it is great to see you as well. Jamie Trevino Jr. is tuning in. Jamie, great to see you. Lori Orr from our New York showroom is joining us as well. Lori, we hope you're doing well, and thanks for tuning in. Nancy is joining us from RDG Woodwinds. Nancy, we hope you're doing well. Of course, Greg, you have a relationship with Nancy over many, many years. So Great to see you. And Sam Rothstein also tuning in. Sam, thank you for joining us this evening. It's great to see you as well. And Pam Muncie from the beautiful Appalachian Mountains of North Carolina is tuning in as well. Hey, Pam, thanks for joining us. Would you mind playing for us a little bit?
Okay.
So what Greg is going to play first is his R13. You said you've been playing on this particular instrument for
Maybe about 6 years.
6 years. Okay. Yeah. Beautiful sound. So tell us what are some of the things that you like about your current R13 in terms of the sound, the response, etc.
I like the focus, that it focuses without me having to manipulate the sound. I like that it's resonant, even, hopefully in tune most of the time, and has color in the sound, flexibility.
Mm-hmm. Okay, now can we hear you play the Mopani clarinet? Let's do a comparison. Beautiful sound as well. Francois, what do you hear differently between
What I was talking about earlier, I think the warmth, the difference in color, but there is still that spin in the sound that I was mentioning that is very similar to what, you know, the Greg's current R13 in Grenadilla. There is that, you know, I don't know if I can set up the spin. I don't know if it makes sense, but the air speed is absolutely incredible on this. That's what I drive, you know, I was telling Greg earlier, you know, the minute he played that horn, that's captivating. You want to listen every note. You're really intrigued by what's coming out of the instrument.
Yeah. What about you?
No,
Greg?
that'd be different if I played it. Nobody would be attracted to anything.
They would be captivated.
That'd be captivated by but not the same way.
What do you experience as far as the?
Yeah, I feel more cover on the sound. It feels warmer to me, very even, very responsive, and I feel like I can give and get inside of the sound, and keep the warmth, keep the cover on the sound.
Now, you, in playing the instruments today, in addition to the R13s, which you had a nickel and a silver set of instruments to play, you also were able to play some Lejeune Mopani clarinets, some Tosca Mopani clarinets. You're traditionally an R13 player, but you've obviously played a lot of the different models over the years, selecting for dealers and selecting for students. Did you notice any significant differences playing those models compared to the Mopani R13, obviously, but also compared against the traditional African Blackwood instruments of those?
Well, that's a good question. I think, again, it's sort of maybe a more veiled version, you know, of their Granadilla brothers or sisters. You know, still the characteristic of that model, but again with this slightly more cushioned cover on there, and but still with solidity and focus, but you just feel like you're playing into a soft blanket or something, not a dead one, but there's just that sense of more cushion. I think that's the best way I can describe the difference.
I like that description a lot, actually. A lot of people joining us this evening. Once again, we're being joined in studio by Buffet-Crampon clarinet artist Gregory Radin, principal clarinet of the Dallas Symphony Orchestra. President and CEO of Buffet-Crampon USA, Francois Clock, is a special surprise guest this evening to talk about the different materials being used recently with Buffet-Crampon clarinets. Some of the other people tuning in this evening, Boya Kragulya is joining us. Boya, thank you for joining us. It's great to see you. And she points out too that the wood matches the jacket very nicely. So that's nice. I like that. We planned that, exactly. Hello, Donnie Todd. Donnie Todd is our Southeast Division Manager based in South Carolina. Lynn Musco, who is our clarinet artist at Stetson University here in Florida. Lynn, thank you for tuning in, as well as Kim Sharon I'm butchering that, so I'm not even going to try. But Kim, thank you for joining us this evening. It's great to see you. If you have questions for Greg Radin or Francois Clock or any of us about the alternate materials or any of the different models that we offer from Buffet-Crampon USA, we invite you to put it in our comment section here. We're going to be here for a few more minutes talking about the different materials that are being used on some of the professional models from Buffet-Crampon. Julia Heinen has tuned in, joining us from California. Hello, Julia. It is great to see you as well. Julia is actually very interested in the Mopani clarinets. I believe maybe you might have selected an instrument for her today.
Yes, we did. A very beautiful legend, I think.
Yeah. So, well, Julia, we'll be in touch tomorrow to talk about that for you. Francois, I wonder if you could talk a little bit about Buffet-Crampon getting into these different materials for clarinet manufacture. Of course, boxwood has a very long history with clarinet manufacture, one of the earliest materials used with the modern clarinets, of course, with the introduction of the Mopani clarinets. Maybe talk a little bit about Buffet-Crampon's motivation and interest in exploring these different materials.
Yeah, as you said, the boxwood was the historic wood used by most of the makers, not only woodwinds but string makers. I mean, a lot of makers have been using that wood. A lot of the recorders are still made out of boxwood. So that was the logical instruments, and also because of it was easy to get. There was a lot of forest of boxwood all around Europe, because that wood has the particularity, it's part of a family of 70 species. So that wood grows pretty much anywhere. You can have different, boxwood, but it's available anywhere. So that was easy for the supply chain, I would say. And then, gradually it went to African Blackwood, which became the Mpingo, or the Dalbergia Menanoxylon as the scientific name. Kind of became the wood that we used at Buffet for many reasons, because of the density, because of the way the wood is responding to the tooling, and also the dimensions and what we want to have out of the wood. And then lately, a lot of those wood with the different woods, the boxwood, and after that the Mopani came really with a lot of requests from different artists, and some testing from our research and development department. And then all of a sudden we decided to kind of work on something with the testers at Buffet. Nicolas Balderou, Michel Arignon, Paul Meyer, and many others. And so that's really the reason why we kind of came back with that, came back to the roots, I would say. Olivier Patet, who is the principal in the Concertgebouw, actually got a set, and that there's a wonderful video on YouTube, I believe, of the orchestra playing Beethoven, and it sounds absolutely fantastic. The blending and Greg actually, I sent one of the boxwood that we had to Greg, and you played it with the Dallas Symphony on rehearsal, I think.
That's right.
And that was kind of the same comments from Greg with the blend and so on and so forth. So Greg will talk more better than me about this. But that's kind of the reason we always try to find ways to work. We're always about research and development at Buffet, and it's also in phase with the artist and what they ask us, or the curiosity, or so it's how things become, I would say.
Mm-hmm. We're going to hear a little bit of the boxwood clarinet here in just a minute. Greg, you played this instrument some time ago. You were one of the artists that we approached to give us some feedback on this instrument. Visually, obviously, this is a very different material, very different instrument than with the African blackwood or with the Mopani wood. Maybe talk a little bit about what you have experienced playing this instrument against the other materials, not only in a small room like this, but also on a stage, as Francois mentioned, what you notice difference-wise acoustically.
Mm-hmm. One of the things you notice right away is it's lighter. It's a lot lighter, just in the hands, and I think that translates to the sound too. It is a lighter sound, a more flexible sound. It's super responsive, very quick, very flexible, blended really well with the other woodwinds. It's almost fluty in quality. Would be ideal for certain repertoire, Beethoven and Mozart and Schubert and things like that. I think would be particularly well suited. Yeah.
Now, boxwood, generally speaking, is a softer, less dense wood than African blackwood, right, Francois?
Yeah, it's still high. It's still high density, but there's definitely a lower density in the wood. Which is the reason why, again, we moved to that, Mpingo, which is very dense, and the variation of the wood are a little bit less dramatic compared, depending on the weather. But the particularity with the boxwood that we've managed to, and again, thanks to the great work of the research and development and the engineers at Buffet Crampon, they managed to really stabilize the boxwood, so that the wood does not react too much to the elements, I would say. And it's pretty amazing that they actually managed to find a way to do this. But that's, it's a beautiful instrument, and that has a very particular sound and warmth and color.
Would you mind playing it a little bit for us? So this is a Legende, actually. So this is a different bore than what we had with the previous two instruments, which are both R13 bore. Very different sound. I don't know if our viewers at home or on their smartphones are able to discern the difference in the tonal quality, but it really is a very different sound than what we got with the Grenadilla R13 versus the Mopani R13. Yeah, and in terms of the response and feel, it sounds like it feels a little different to you as well.
Yeah, no, it's definitely there's an ease about it that's very attractive, and yeah, the flutiness is a word that keeps coming to mind.
I like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
We've got just a few more minutes with our special guest this evening. If you have any questions for Greg Radin or Francois Clark, please put it in our comments section. I know that we had a few questions earlier in the comments. Declan Lynch is our producer this evening. Declan, maybe if you could scroll up just a little bit so I could, let's see. I know that Brenda Schumann Post is joining us this evening. Brenda is one of our fantastic oboe artists, and we really appreciate you joining us, Brenda. Brenda, of course, is an advocate for alternate materials, especially with Greenline for our oboes. And Brenda, thank you so much for joining us this evening. It looks like we do have a few new comments down below. Laura, we're glad that you're enjoying your new festivals in your new position. That is fantastic. And it looks like our viewers are able to hear the difference between the different instruments, which is great to hear. So. In terms of application for this new beautiful Mopani clarinet that you have in your hands currently, I know that there's a break-in period. I know that you're going to be traveling quite a bit over the next couple of weeks. So tell us your plans for this beautiful new addition to your clarinet arsenal.
Well, I look forward to playing it in the orchestra as soon as possible. But yes, I have to break it in carefully because you don't want to play it too much too soon. The risk of cracking, of course, with any new instrument. But once I get back from my summer festival travels, I will begin the process of breaking it in, and yeah, I'm really excited to try it.
For our younger viewers, could you talk briefly about your break-in period for a new instrument, how you handle that?
Yeah, sure. I just start by playing it no more than 10 minutes at a time, and then let it rest a good few hours so it can completely cool down, swab it out really well between the tendon joints, particularly make sure you get all the moisture out. Let it cool down completely. Then you could play it again for maybe another 10 minutes the same day, but really no more than that. And then start inching up the time incrementally. The next week, maybe 15 minutes, 20 minutes, and so on until you get to an hour or so. But it takes time. You don't want to do it too quickly. The wood has to get used to expanding and contracting. And one of the really important things is to make sure that the outside of the instrument is warm. Right now, of course, it's summer, so it's not as much of an issue, although you're in very air-conditioned places. So that can play havoc. If the instrument is very cold on the outside and you blow warm air, and that can be very dangerous. So you want to make sure that the body is warm before you blow warm air into it.
I always tell people, and they laugh when I tell them this, but it's true, is that the material, whether it's Grenadilla wood, whether it's Mopani wood or boxwood, the material is learning how to be a clarinet. It's adjusting, it's expanding and contracting, as you mentioned. It's heating up, it's cooling off, it's getting moist, it's drying out. And so the material changes quite a bit during that break-in period, and you have to allow it to learn how to be a clarinet.
It's true.
We're just about out of time. A couple of other hellos. Pavel Vinitsky is joining us from New York. Pavel, it's great seeing you, and thank you for tuning in. Marcy Gurno from the Atlanta Symphony Orchestra, also a Buffet Crampon artist, is joining us this evening, and thank you, Marcy, for tuning in. We do have a question from EJ Kim. ordering a certain buffet model if it's not currently in stock at my local dealer or distributor or from the New York showroom. EJ, you can contact Lori or at our New York showroom. She is the showroom manager, and she should be able to tell you exactly what she has in her stock currently. And she can also advise you on being able to obtain models if they're not available from your local dealer. We'll be happy to help you with that. Lori is a good place to start with that. And I can also help you with that as well. And I'll reach out to you after tonight's webcast with my email address, and I can give you more information as well.
I saw that Diane Barger is on as well.
Thank you.
Oh,
Diane.
And just great to see you, or at least through the message box. I don't know how you call that, but it's great to have you with us, Diane, and hope you're doing well, and sending you all our wishes.
Yeah, Diane, it's great to see you, and glad to see you doing so well. Francois, do you have anything to say as we wrap up this evening's webcast?
No, since what time is it? 6:31. So it's 30 minutes after midnight in France. That's the birthday of our CEO for the group, Mr. Jérôme Perrault. So Jérôme, when you see that, hopefully when you wake up or later, I hope you're not up. Happy birthday. There we go.
There you go.
Joyeux anniversaire, Jérôme.
Yeah, happy birthday, Jérôme. So, and let's see, one final guest, Michael Norsworthy is tuning in. Hello, Michael. He's a brand new dealer for Buffet Crampon USA, the New York Clarinet Workshop. And Michael, it's great to see you joining us as well. Greg, anything you'd like to add in conclusion this evening?
I don't think so. I think we've covered it all.
The Dallas Symphony is doing well. You guys are getting ready to.
It's doing very well.
Yep.
Yes, thank you.
And you'll have a full season and full capacity at this point?
That's the plan.
Fantastic.
Yes.
Okay. If anybody would like to learn more about you, where can they go online to learn more about Gregory?
That's a good question.
They can go to the Dallas
They
Symphony
can go to the
website.
Dallas Symphony website.
Yep.
You can go on the Buffet website.
They can go on the Buffet website.
Yeah.
Van Doren website.
Yeah. So
And they can go to the Dallas Symphony to listen to Greg play.
that's right.
I see Yehuda Gilad is there too.
Oh, Yehuda. It's great to see you. Thank you for joining us this evening. We hope you are well. We're going to wrap things up. Thank you so much to everyone that joined us this evening. This was a fantastic webcast and great to see so many people tuning in. I want to remind you that if you missed any of tonight's hashtag Rhapsody Live webcast, this will be posted on our YouTube channel. That is hashtag Rhapsody Live. And this will also be on our Facebook page, the New York Showroom page, as well as simulcast on the Buffet Crampon Facebook page. Also want to remind you, next week's webcast will feature our low brass product specialist, Declan Lynch, who again was our producer this evening. Thank you, Declan, for all your hard work getting this going. Declan will be talking all things low brass on next week's webcast. That is Thursday at 6 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. Again, gentlemen, thank you for joining us this evening. It has been a real pleasure, not only during the webcast, but hearing you play today and talking about Mopani clarinets and everything else.
Thank you. Nice to be here.
Hope everyone has a great evening, and we'll see you next week, Thursday at 6 p.m. with Declan Lynch. Thanks so much.